Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can see and hear us okay. We will get started in a minute here. Welcome, welcome. This is our beginner session for getting started with MailerLite. If you are setting up your account or have just signed up in the last month or so, we'll be going over everything to get set up. All right, looks like we're a minute in, so let's go ahead and get started. Once again, this is our session getting started with MailerLite. Just some quick housekeeping things. So this session is being recorded, and we do send out the copy of the recording to everyone who has registered. We should be here about an hour, maybe a little bit less, depending on how quickly we go through everything, but about an hour is the max we will be here. And please write all your questions in the Q&A. So you should be able to see both a webinar chat and a Q&A. For this session, it'll be easiest to type all of the questions in the Q&A so we can see those easily over there. And for the webinar chat, our panelists will be adding in things like knowledge-based article links, tutorials, things like that, but all questions can go in the chat. Okay, and quick introduction. My name is Harmony. I'm a customer education specialist here at MailerLite. Been here for a few years, and I help to host these sessions as well as work with our tutorials and all of our help information. And then I also have Alex here with me today. Alex is our video producer here at MailerLite, and he'll be hosting the second half of the session. So we do host these sessions together. If you've seen any of our tutorials, you've probably seen him in those. Okay, so to go over a bit what we'll be talking about today, our agenda, we'll be going over everything on a more basic level, a beginner level. Firstly, starting with subscribers for importing, as well as the difference between groups and segments, so how to separate your subscribers into smaller lists. Then we will talk about campaigns, both sending a one-off campaign using the drag and drop editor, as well as automating, so creating just a simple automation. And then at the end, we will go over any questions that we haven't answered and share some resources as well. Okay, so this chart might look like a lot, but we have recently updated our plan levels at MailerLite. So this is going over the plan structure that we have now. So just a quick overview. You still have the free plan, of course, which is up to 250 subscribers with the limitations you see here as far as things like how many monthly emails you send, user seats, referring to how many how many people on your team have access to the account. So you might have an admin, and then you might have a manager of the account with access to other areas, for example. So you have these limits here. Templates, automations, websites and landing pages, forms, digital products, which we will talk a bit more about, the ability to remove the MailerLite logo, and the ability to add multiple automation triggers, as well as the support levels for each. And I do notice one mistake here. I think this digital products, there is more for comfort. It should not be this slash here, so we'll update that. But for the most part, you can kind of understand the structure that we have here. So we have the free plan, which, like I said, up to 250 subscribers, and really gives you everything you need to get started. If you are on the 14-day free trial, you do have access to different features in the app, but the free plan does have just a few of these limitations. So you can still create automations, still create landing pages, still send newsletters, still create forms, all of those things. There's just a limitation for getting started. And then once you surpass that level and it's up to 500 subscribers on the comfort plan or more, but that is giving you a bit more options with monthly emails, more user seats, more automations, etc. The limits go up. And then, of course, the power plan, which is for any amount of subscribers above 500, and that just gives you unlimited. So you no longer have limitations with emails, how many forms, templates, landing pages, campaigns you can create. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the overview. So in this part of the presentation, we'll be going over different parts of the app. Deliverability and authentication, I'll talk about first. Then I will also go into subscribers, where contacts are managed in MailerLite and how to separate them into smaller lists. And then Alex will talk about campaigns, so creating an email and sending it using the drag and drop editor, as well as we mentioned before, automation, so creating workflows, setting up email sequences. So the first thing we wanted to talk about is deliverability before we go into subscribers. So before we talk about adding subscribers to the account and sending them emails, we do want to stress that deliverability is important. This is making sure that your emails do land in the inbox. And there are a few things that are recommendations and a few things that are a little more than recommendations. There are things that are actually required. So the first thing we ask is, do you have a custom domain and is it authenticated? Custom domain meaning like this. So we recommend not sending from free domains. In MailerLite, it is possible to still send from free domains, but for deliverability reasons, it is highly recommended not to. A domain just being this, it could be from the website that you have, but you do not have to have a website to have a domain. Examples you can see here, like MailerLite.com. But we recommend rather than sending from emails like this with Gmail or Yahoo or any of the free providers, and instead have an email that connects, that is attached to the domain that you own. The next step after, do you have a custom domain, is it authenticated? So in MailerLite, we do have a process of authentication. It is very quick and it is automatic. I will show that in the app. Let me go ahead. I'll go over there in a minute. But we will show authentication so that you can see what it looks like to easily go through the automatic process. And the other thing I will mention is the importance of consent, so permission-based opt-ins. So in MailerLite, it is required that every email or every contact that you import, whether it is you're uploading from a file or you're adding subscribers in other ways, they do have to have signed up willingly, so opted in to be emailed from you. So they have to know that they're being added to a marketing list and they have to have signed up for that list. Okay, so that means nothing like purchase lists or taking emails from public websites like social media sites or anything like that. Every contact that you import does need to have opted in. Okay, let's go to, okay, so we talked about the free domains. As we mentioned, it is better to email from your own domain. And okay, now we'll go over into the app itself and show the process of importing subscribers, what it looks like to go through the domain authentication process or how to at least start that, and then the difference between groups and segments. So separating your larger lists into smaller lists for targeting your emails. All right, let me go ahead and go over to the app itself. Feel free to follow along with us. Okay, so you should be able to see my dashboard here. Before we go into the subscribers area, we talked about authentication. Before you do start sending, this is important. So if we go down to account settings, and you can reach domains from here or up here, it's the same area. It will lead to this screen. So you can see we have sending domains as well as site domains. And this is what we want to look at here is sending domains. Sending domains meaning the domains that you are using to send your campaigns from, the emails that you are sending out from MailerLite. This is the domain that they will be coming from, whichever one that you are authenticating. Site domains are connected to your websites and landing pages, so they're not used for sending. This is a little different. This is if you want to connect your own domain to a landing page or site that you've created in MailerLite. But in this case, we're talking about the sending domains. Once you have your custom domain, again, MailerLite does not provide custom domains. It's something that you have to have outside, you purchase yourself outside of MailerLite, the domain that you own, add domain. Here you would add the email address connected to that domain that you own. So not just website itself, but any email that is connected to that domain. And this one may or may not go, yes. And you can see that there are several statuses here, but right away, the automatic authentication opens. So as soon as I added my domain, this portal opened up, and when I click continue, it will go through the process of analyzing my domain for me, detecting the provider, and then I will go through the steps um, to authenticate this domain. So this is much simpler without having to actually add these records yourself. If you have been with us, or if you want to do the manual setup, this used to be how it was always done, but typically you would have to take these records and add them to your domain, which no longer is needed. However, you can see all of those records and add them yourself this way. But it is very simple to go through the automatic authentication process. Once that is done, you'll see there are several different statuses. If the authentication hasn't been done at all, it will show needs authentication, and that is where you go here, check status, and you can go through the automatic authentication this way. Otherwise, if for any reason the authentication did not go through, it will show authentication failed, and you can resolve, which will restart the authentication with the same automatic process. And then, of course, once the authentication has worked, you will see authenticated. And this, once again, is important for sending. All right, that is mainly it for this part of talking about deliverability authentication, setting up your custom domain. Next, we talked about subscribers and importing. So let me go ahead and go over to the subscribers tab. And here, the subscribers are separated into different sections, but all of your subscribers will be on this main area here, this first tab. So by default, it will show active subscribers, and active means that they are on your list and that they can be emailed. So they are not unsubscribed, bounced, they have not submitted a spam complaint, they are not unconfirmed, which has to do with forms. In this case, they are active subscribers that can be emailed. All other subscribers, like we mentioned, unsubscribed, bounce, etc., those will all be in separated categories. These emails, of course, you cannot send to them. They have either, for whatever reason, if they have unsubscribed, if their email has hard bounced, it means that their inbox is not active. There's no email to actually send to. Spam complaints, of course, unconfirmed. So all of these statuses cannot be emailed, only the active, which is shown in the main area of the subscribers page by default. Then we also have segments and groups. Segments and groups being ways that you can split that larger list into smaller lists. So we have about 300 subscribers here. But let's say that for my campaigns, I might not want to send every email to all of these subscribers. I might have certain emails, certain promotions, things that I only want to send to specific subscribers. So for that, we have segments as well as groups, similar but slightly different. The main thing to remember is that groups have a more manual setup. You are able to do a lot of things without any filters, any rules, any conditions. It is all, you can kind of set this up any way you would like to. So if I create a group, just example, and I have this group here, if I go back to my all subscribers list, I can manually add any subscribers to that list, for example. So I would just click actions, add to group, and I can choose the group that I just created. That is not the only way to add subscribers to groups, but that is more to show that it is very simple to just manually add whoever you like into groups. You can add subscribers to groups as well when you import, which we will go over in a minute. This will take a minute to update, but let's see if it has updated. I will also show, there we go. So those subscribers I added are here. And if I wanted to remove them, I could do the same thing, click actions, remove from group, and I just choose the group that I created again. So in this way, I can manually add and remove, right? When I am creating forms, when I'm creating sites, I also have to choose a group for subscribers to go into. When I add subscribers via importing, I'm choosing groups that they can be added. So groups are used in many different ways in the app, but the main thing to remember is the manual setup that you can add subscribers and remove them like this, whereas segments are a bit different. Segments are all dictated by a rule or a filter, some type of condition. So we do have the option to start from scratch when creating segments, but we do have these templates for you to use as well. So you can create a segment of devoted customers, of those who click links, of active openers, of not active subscribers, location based, no opens yet for those who are a bit more inactive, time zone, etc. So you can see that we have these for you to easily, and it shows you which filters will be applied. So for example, the devoted customers, emails opened and clicked in the last 60 days. So those are the filters that will be applied. Frequent link clicks, etc. In this case, I will start from scratch. And then I'm asked to choose the filter or the conditions for creating this segment. So basically, I'm deciding what are the conditions that a subscriber has to meet to be added to this segment automatically. And we can choose from many different options. So we have fields, these are the custom fields, the information we have on subscribers, location, sign up date, sign up source, email actions. So email actions, things like opened, clicks, sent, not sent, across campaigns and automations, for example. But we can choose something simple like sign up date is in the last, let's say, let's go with 30 days, although I don't know if we have, let's say 90. Okay, so you can see when when I adjust the filters, the segment automatically updates. This is the main thing to remember with segments is that it is all based on this filter. There is no need to manually remove or add. It's not really possible because they will automatically be added to the segment if they meet the condition. And similarly, if time goes on and they no longer meet the segment conditions in the future, they will be removed. So once, for example, this sign up date for these subscribers is in the last 90 days, right now they meet those conditions. Once time passes and their sign up date is no longer in the last 90 days, they will no longer meet the conditions. They'll be removed. I don't have to do that myself. I just set the conditions and it updates automatically. So that is the main difference and the main thing to remember between segments and groups. Now talking about adding subscribers and how to import if we want to actually add more subscribers from other places or we have a list, a file, we can do that over in the Add Subscribers tab. There are several ways to add subscribers. You can import from a CSV or a TXT file, which is what I'll be showing in this demo, but you can also copy paste from Excel all of the information, email address, first name, last name. If you just have a single subscriber to add quickly, or if you want to add yourself as a subscriber, for example, you can do that easily from this tab. It gives you the option just to add email and name, but if you click show more fields, you can add all the information that you have. You have a lot of fields here. And you can see group is also an option. So the subscribers that you add, any of the ways that you import or add subscribers, you can choose to add to a specific group. If you have created any groups recently, you can just, you can see the group that we created there. Very simple. If you are moving over from MailChimp, so sometimes we have people who are moving from their accounts from one to the other. This is very simple to connect your MailChimp account and add your subscribers that way. So no need to worry about doing the manual import with files. If you are coming over from MailChimp, we do have this very easy migration to connect your account and bring over your subscribers, tags, everything like that. And then for anyone doing custom building, we do have, of course, import using API, which this leads to our documentation right there. But let's go ahead and show what it looks like to import using a file. Let me just grab a file that I have here. One moment. Okay, so if I import a CSV file that I have here, import subscribers, and now I have to do a few things. Match fields, add to group. So you can see I have the option to add the subscribers that I'm just importing now into a specific group. If I don't do this, they are still added to my main list. They will always be added to the main list. This is just asking if I also want to separate them into a group. And then I match fields. So this file is very simple. It just has an email field. I just have the emails. I don't have names. I don't have country information, just email, which is automatically picked up. So email goes to the email field. Of course, if this was a column of names, then I would want to connect it to the name field. Or if this was a column of information that I did not need or did not want in my account at all, I could also choose skip this column and then it would not import that information. But in this case, we of course want the emails. That is how they are our subscribers. And then I can also choose with automations. So let's say that these subscribers that I am adding, if they meet any of the conditions for my workflows, which we'll talk about later what workflows are, how to build them, but if these subscribers meet any of those conditions, they won't automatically be added, but I can click yes that they should be if, again, if they meet any of those conditions of workflows that I have set up. Once all of that is done, finish import. And this list might have already been added, but let's see. Basically, once the import is finished, you'll be able to see an overview of the new subscribers that were added, the subscribers that were updated, so those that were already in your account but just had information updated, and then those not added at all. And subscribers not added could just mean that like I said, they were already in your account and well, they would be updated, but they might have already been. There's different reasons that they can be not added. And here we go. So if they, yeah, in this case, these subscribers were not added because they were already in the account and there was no information for them to be updated. But if any subscribers are not added, it will show the reasons why. So there was 11 unchanged subscribers and there was also duplicates. So that we do not add any duplicates. They are just condensed into one subscriber. So that will give you the overview there. And that is basically it. So we talked about authenticating your custom domain when you have your custom domain and you want to start sending subscribers, separating them into groups and segments, as well as the different statuses. I think that is it for this specific section. Let me go ahead and go back to our slides here. Yep. Okay, so we've talked about importing subscribers, domain authentication, as well as groups and segments. I will now hand over the presentation to Alex, and he will talk about creating and sending newsletter campaigns. So this live demo will show choosing a template versus starting from scratch, adding content, things like text, images, buttons, personalization. So how to add things like your subscriber's name into the email, how to preview and test your campaign before sending, as well as sending right away versus scheduling the campaign in the future, as well as automations, which are also called workflows. We talk about automations and workflows, it's the same thing. And these are sequences of emails of different things that happen. So rather than just creating one email and sending it, you can actually create a sequence of emails that is set off automatically. This helps to save time and keep subscribers engaged. So you're able to send emails automatically based on actions rather than always manually sending emails that are scheduled later. And in that part of the demo, Alex will show the different workflow triggers and mainly the most common ones. Since we are going over things more basic, we'll just show the more common workflow triggers, as well as how to work with rules and actions. And I think if I stop sharing my screen, Alex, you can take over.
Yeah, let me get to share mine now. We've got my browser that shows the dashboard. Okay, the dashboard. And to get into campaigns, we're gonna hop right into it. There's a couple of ways to get started. You can hit the create button over here and then create a campaign. Also, if you want to see all of your campaign information, we've got this button on the left sidebar. So hit campaigns, and that'll take you over to your campaigns dashboard. So from here, you can see drafts, you can see your sent campaigns, and then you can also see your outbox if you have scheduled anything, which we have not. But hopping right into creating a new campaign, usually it'll bring you straight over to drafts. You're going to hit this big green create campaign button. And then you're going to choose your campaign type. So you've got regular campaign, A/B split campaign, RSS campaign, auto resend, and multivariate. So we're going to go with regular campaign for now. Just keep in mind that auto resend and then multivariate are going to be on our paid plans. A/B split is going to be letting you test two variations of an email to see which one performs better, and then it'll go off with sending the most highest performing one. If you want to learn more about any of these, check out our resources in the knowledge base or head over to our YouTube channel because we've got video guides and text guides for many of these, if not all of them. All right, so hopping into a regular campaign. First thing you'll notice is that we've got templates. So you can see many different templates here. They are also named, or these are our templates that we've used. But if you go over to all templates, you can see that they're named for like what their intended use is. That doesn't mean you have to use it for that. If you like a design, you can customize it however you want and use it for, whichever campaign that you'd like to use it for. Um, we've also got a start from scratch button. So if you want to start your email from scratch, not from a template, go ahead and hit choose. And that's going to also show you our editor. So we're going to go into the drag and drop editor today. Again, we do have the simple editor and a custom HTML editor. If you want to learn more about either of these, again, check out our videos or our articles to learn more and take a deep dive into how to use them. For the drag and drop editor, we're going to go ahead and continue with that one. Once we get into the builder, we can go ahead and go over how you can design this email. All right, so once you open up, you're going to see the basic email template. So this is kind of like everything is placeholder. We've got the company logo up at the top. If you click into that, you can, of course, customize these, or if you want to remove this block entirely, you can with this little bin over here. To customize any image, so whether that's this logo, this image down here, or if you want to add in a new image, the way to customize it is always the same. So you hover over it, and then in this little toolbar that pops up, you're gonna click on this like image icon, And then that will bring you over to your file manager where you can select any image that you would like to add to your email. All right, let me go ahead and erase that one. We're going to replace this image with just a placeholder that we have used in the past. Alrighty. And then you can also, for editing any sort of text or buttons or anything on the in your email, whatever's on the screen, you click into it, and then you can immediately begin typing. You may also have noticed that there is a text formatting toolbar that appears right above wherever you are typing your text or formatting your text. So there you can use all the standard formatting for everything, but we also have variables or personalizations. So say you want to add someone's name, maybe you don't want to add their name into the title, but you want to add it into the body of your email. So like hello, and then you want their name to appear after hello. What you would do is click on this variable or this hashtag icon, and then you can select a variable. So these are going to be drawing from your personalizations. If you want to learn more about how to use those or how to add custom personalizations to your emails or create new ones just for your specific use case, we have guides on how to work with those as well. But when you click on name, it's going to add this variable into your email. So right now it just says like name like this. That's not going to appear in their inbox. They're going to actually see their name. Keep in mind for any variable that you add, you need to have collected that information from your subscribers when they signed up. So usually they'll use a sign up form and then they can enter their name and email. That's where it's going to get their name from. In addition, um, if you are on um, one of our paid plans, then you may have access to this AI, or if you're on the 14-day trial, you'll have access to this. You can work with an AI to help you get off of that blank screen. So you can use a prompt, and then it'll give you suggested text for like what you want to start off with, and you can feel free to customize that afterwards in your email. And you can also select what you're wanting it to help you out with. So if it's just going to be a short paragraph, you can say, give me a quick intro paragraph for new subscribers. And then it'll go ahead and generate that, and then you can insert it and customize it however you would like. All right. And then for buttons, so when you have a button in your email, just hovering over it, you can see that a little toolbar pops up. If you click into it, the way to make this into a clickable button is to hit this little link icon. You can insert a link. You also have the ability to insert files from your file manager. So if you are delivering some sort of like a free lead magnet or a guide of some kind and you want to give your audience direct access from the email, you can use that. Again, for more information about how to use that function, check out our guides. And then inserting links. So again, you click that and then you can type in whatever URL you would like. And then that button will direct them to that page. So if you want to test how that works, what you would do is go to preview and test and go to preview mode. Let your email load, and then we click on the button. It takes us over to that website. You may have noticed when we were editing that button, you can say open the link in a new tab. So if you want the link to open in a new tab, just hit that and then it'll open up in a new tab. Now for adding blocks, this is our drag and drop editor. So everything on this left sidebar is going to be what you'd use to build out your email. So say you want to go to sections, you can add in a single section. You can add in different types of hero blocks if you want to add a different type of a hero block to your email. All you need to do is click and drag that into the builder, and then you customize it the same way that you would customize any other part of the campaign. Same goes for every other piece of content on here. So if you want to add like image plus simple content, or if you want to add a survey or a quiz, you can do that as well. Um, feel free to go ahead and go through all of these and customize it however you need to make your email as custom and personal as you need it. For every one of these blocks, what you'd want to do to customize them, like styling and everything else, that's going to appear on the right sidebar. So say this was a quiz block. So if you go over there, you can customize um, questions and things like that all over here. So that goes true for every single block, every item. It's going to be over here, how you can customize it. So again, we're not going to go too far into detail for how to customize these because there are almost an infinite number of variables when it comes to how personal you can make these. Um, Next, one thing I want to mention as well, these are all of our emails, whether it's a template or if you're building from scratch, they are mobile responsive. So in preview mode, there was a mobile view. I just want to show that real quick here. If you click onto that, you'll see what it looks like on mobile. This one looks like I'm getting some kind of right formatting. So pardon my browser being funny. But you can preview how it's going to look on both desktop and mobile. Once you've finished up with your design, everything is how you'd like it to be. That's when you can hit done editing. And again, if you want to go, we have videos that go really deep into the features that our drag and drop editor has. So again, check out those articles and those videos to learn a bit more about how to customize and build out your campaign just the way you want it. If you have buttons in your email that are not linked, it'll ask you to resolve them if you hit done editing before you have linked them anywhere. Right now, because we're just doing a demo, we're going to continue anyway, but make sure you resolve those before you go on to the next screen. Alrighty, so after that, you are taken to campaign details. So you want to give your campaign a name. This is not going to be what your subscribers see. And that's because this is just for you to categorize it. Highly recommend using a descriptive name for this campaign name so that you can reference it in the past and you know what you have sent. The subject line, however, they are going to see that one. So you may see over here, we've got a few suggestions what you could add. But again, you may want to customize that according to your own brand and like what you want to be sending. Oof, sorry. All right, we'll go ahead and add that in there. Notice this one added a personalization. So personalizations can also work in the subject line. All right, and then you want to check your sender name, make sure that that is correct and it's familiar to your subscribers so they know who the email is coming from. And you can also do pre-header. This is going to appear underneath the subject line inside of their inbox. So you have the subject line, and then you have something that kind of tells what's going to be inside the email. So again, we got a few suggestions. Make sure the content that you put down here is relevant to what's actually inside of the email. So while we have suggestions, I highly recommend customizing them and making sure that they are accurate and make sense to your audience. And then recipients. So you want to select who this email is going to go out to. When you click into that, you can send it to all active subscribers. You can also send it to a specific segment. So if you want to send it to a segment of subscribers or to a specific group, you can do so. You can also send it to everyone, but then exclude specific segments or groups simply by using this exclude button on the right side. But once you decide who you want to send it to, go ahead and hit select. And then again, if you want to make sure that your email is correct, you can click on the preview here. You can edit the content. You can send a test all from right over here. We're going to hit continue one more time. And again, you can still see this campaign summary. So this is going to be your email preview, your subject line, sender name, everything that you have worked on up until now. And then you have your send or schedule options. So you can send it right now. That's going to just send your email out immediately. You can schedule it for later. So send later. We'll let you schedule it to go out at a future time. We also have based on time zones. So if you are using time zone or smart sending, those are both paid features. But it lets you send it based on, so if you want, say you want it to receive it, you want your subscribers to receive it at 9 a.m. their time, but you have subscribers all over the world or all over different time zones. This will make sure that they get it in their specific time zone at that time. And then Smart Sending is going to deliver your campaign to subscribers when they're most likely to engage. And then you can read more about how that works. If you're in the 14-day trial, you definitely have access to these. So check that out if you are curious. And then, yeah, you can either send or schedule your campaign just like that from there. Um, this was how to go over one-off campaigns. Harmony had mentioned automations. They are a way to have a sequence of like emails or steps taken automatically. So you set it up once and then it'll continue to run. So say if you are growing your email list and you want to send out a welcome email to everyone who subscribes to your list and you're getting hundreds or thousands of subscribers coming in, you don't want to have to do this process every single time you get a new subscriber. So that's what automations are for. And now we're going to go into that and look at how to get that set up. For this webinar, we're just going to go over it really high level and very simple automation. But again, I recommend going over to our YouTube channel or to our knowledge base to get really in-depth information on how to get these set up and make the most out of automations because um, they will save your life. That's how I'll put it. Go ahead and click on New Automation when you are getting that set up. And then you'll see that we've got templates you can start from. So if you want to get a simple welcome email set up, you can preview that. And then it's just very simple. Somebody signs up, they get an email. We're going to do a couple more steps than that, but we are going to keep it simple. But just again, keep in mind that we've got lots of different types of automations, depending on what your use case may be. So check that out, and then use those to easily get started. Alrighty, so you see here. Let's go ahead and start from scratch. We're going to give this one a name. So simple demo automation. Alrighty, so you'll notice when you open up the editor, it'll be on triggers first, so you can add a step from it, and the first step has to be a trigger, otherwise nothing's going to happen. The automation has to be triggered in order to start. So a trigger is an action taken by your subscriber or potential subscriber. We're gonna go ahead and just add joins a group, and I'm picking that one because usually if it's for me, then what I would do is have someone sign up and then they join a group that I've created that is tied to whatever it is that I used for that sign up. So say I have a lead magnet, I'm gonna have a group tied to that lead magnet, and when they fill out that form, they're added to that group, and so that's why I would use that trigger. Let's go ahead and select which group. It's going to be the demo group, and we hit save. Alrighty, so immediately after they join a group, what do we want to happen? Ideally, they would get an email right away just to be introduced into this, um, yeah, this list, this email list that we're building here. So send email. And then from here, you can design the email right away and then enter your campaign details. So email name is going to be it's just for you. It's not going to be what they see. But again, make this descriptive so that you know what step in the automation this is happening, because that'll matter for if the automation is going to get more complicated and you want to be able to reference specific steps. Giving your email a proper name is important. So again, we've got the subject line. And then your pre-header. So offer a short preview of your email's content. We're going to skip that for now and just go to design email, just so I can show you what this looks like. But it is the same as if you were just creating a campaign from scratch. So we're going to choose start from scratch over here. choose the drag and drop editor, and then we're not going to build anything. We're just going to hit done editing, but this is the same editor and the same step that you would use if you were building a one-off campaign, except that we're building an automation right now. All right, so again, let's pretend we've customized everything and made our email. Hit done editing. And again, continue anyway because we're not going to resolve our buttons. But if you are doing this, definitely resolve any buttons or missing links that you may have in your email. Then hit save. Now, if you wanted to have multiple steps in your automation, you're going to use what are called delay steps. And that is because if you do not have any delay steps, then if you have multiple things happening, if you have multiple emails with no delay steps, then everything goes out all at the same time. So as soon as they join, they would get, if you have 5 emails, they're going to get 5 emails right away. And that's going to be a little jarring for your subscribers. So we're going to put a delay, maybe just a couple of days here, and then hit save. And then from there, after that, you can have another email that goes out. So the delay goes out, you design another email, and then so 2 days after that first email goes out, then they're going to get this other email. I'm just going to pick a template right now. Let's let this load. And once again, we're just going to hit done editing. All right. And then again, some campaign details. So automation email 2, welcome again. And then we're going to hit save for now. So we got a very simple 2-step automation. It's triggered by them filling out a form, which adds them to a group. And then they get an email, and then a delay, and then another email. So once you're done, then you can hit activate. If you want to test your automation, you can send yourself a test as well. And then that way you're able to just see what your automation actually looks like. If you want to test everything as if you were a subscriber receiving this automation, what you want to do is add yourself to your own email list. So add a single subscriber, like Harmony had mentioned earlier. You can add a single subscriber to your list, and then um, normally you can add a subscriber over here. So if you enable the automation, if we hit activate over here, we're not going to activate it right now. But if you hit activate, you can add a subscriber and you could add a subscriber from your list. So if you've added yourself, you could add yourself to it and then you can send yourself that automation. So actually, let me go ahead and just show you that one. All right, so you can add a subscriber and then say you want to add yourself. You can do that and then click add, and then that's going to add you to this automation. And you can add them to a specific step if you'd like to. So, like, you can add them at the delay step or at the email step or at the very start of the automation. And then you'll go through that automation as if you were an actual subscriber. So, it's going to take 2 days to finish this automation if you do that. But you can test it out in that way if you would like to. If you have like multiple steps or it's a little bit complex, then that'll let you run through it as if you were an actual subscriber. So that is a real quick primer on automations. Highly recommend taking a deep dive if you want to learn more. So looking at our videos and looking at our knowledge base articles to really go in depth and make these into what you need for your own business or your own operation. But that about does it for this. I will go ahead and pass it back over to Harmony.
Great, thank you. Just answering some questions. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. But we are basically done. Just one moment. Okay. Okay, so I think we have gone over everything now. We've talked about creating and sending newsletter campaigns. We went through the demo. We've talked about automations. automating. And that is basically it. We've had a few questions. I was in the middle of answering one as well. But we do send out an email after this session is over that does have the recording of this webinar, as well as direct links to everything we sent in the chat and other helpful resources as well. So knowledge-based articles, video tutorials, and access to the MailerLite community, which everyone always, you do have access to anyway, but we do send direct links to find the community. Otherwise, the floor is open if anyone has any more questions. Otherwise, we are basically done with the session. We have some time left over. As I said, if anyone does have any questions left to ask. Otherwise, we do host these type of sessions twice a month, and we host many other sessions as well um, in for different things like deliverability, different areas of the app. I will just show where to find those when you are looking at the MailerLite website. We'll send this in the email as well, but under live learning sessions, so resources up here and then live learning sessions, you can find direct links to the upcoming events that we have. And this will be updated very soon, but we do have a deliverability workshop coming up. So that is a great way to learn more. Otherwise, I think we have answered the majority of questions, and we can go ahead and end this session. I will just give it a minute to see if any other questions come up, or if Alex, you want to answer any as well. But just let me check here.
Yeah, I do see one here about starting a campaign and having it automatically send out another follow-up email. So that's what the automations are for. If you create an automation, so if you want to send it over to somebody, then you can, send an email and then have it automatically send out another one after they receive that email. Um, depends on what kind of campaign though that you are sending out. If you're creating a one-off campaign and then you want to send another email to that same list automatically, then it just depends on how you're doing it, on how you have the initial setup. I would say, like, if you're delivering a lead magnet and then you have one email going out to everybody who gets that lead magnet, that's like a very easy use case for having that set up. But in short, yes, you can. Just depends on how you want to get it set up.
All right. Hopefully this helped to answer some questions, clear up some doubts, and see that getting started with the platform isn't too isn't too scary once you just know the first couple steps. Once again, we host these sessions. We host several sessions a month, so feel free to check back in. Otherwise, I think we are done. Keep an eye out for that email, and we will see you in the next session. Thanks, everyone. Bye.